Hello, my fellow dreamers and believers. My name is Demonte, and welcome back to Buried. Now, this is literally just a few seconds after chat got done with the past recording video of freaking chapter 3. A lot of shit happened in chapter 3. Someone expected something that didn't expect it to happen, but you know what? We got through it. Now, we're going to begin chapter 4 in 3, 2, 1. Bah. So here's chapter 4. Let's get started. So now I'm with Amy, and Dennis is still down with the hangar, and we gotta hope that he's safe. Oh my god. The ride up to the elevator is tense. I take a series of deep breaths, doing everything I can to stay in control. Amy has gotten back to her feet, but her head is pressed against the elevator wall as she suppresses a series of sobs. I find myself trying to remember the way those creatures looked, but my mind seems to stutter at the effort. I have seen something that is impossible, a mockery of what I know is real. This fills me with the terror that dwarfs anything else I have felt since discovering the facility. I try to focus my mind on something else, and I remember Marcus's threat. I wonder if we'll see Marcus again, I said, mostly to myself. Do you think Marcus got away from those things? I sort of hope not. Me too, she says, looking at the ground, her arms folded. So, I said, how did you end up here? She gives a nervous choke and shrugs. I used to work with the Pentagon. It was some pretty upper echelon stuff that I still can't discuss. I assume this place is even more upper echelon, I said. This place isn't even on the scale, she answers. My other job was a cakewalk compared to this. Then why stay, I asked. Because the money is ridiculous. I have a 13-year-old daughter already talking about Harvard. You do the math. Harvard, huh? That's ambitious. Oh, I know. She's a force of nature. Her dad ran off when she was 3, so for a long time, it's just been her and me. Amy pauses before continuing softly. What if I never see? Her voice breaks off, the words too terrible to say. Her eyes fill with tears. The elevator comes to a stop. The slight ding of it interrupted the moment. Amy hastily wipes her eyes. We waste no time to getting back inside the command center. She has a 13-year-old daughter. Oh god. I raided the rifle, suddenly certain that there are more than those creatures waiting for us in the hallway on the second level. But the way is clear, allowing us to haul ass to the command center. Once again, I found myself staring at the screen that shows my ruined work site. Okay, Amy says, typing the command center rapidly. It can't be that hard. I keep peeking over my shoulder, my senses feeling as if the monsters are sneaking up on us, mere inches away. I then think of Dennis, and I wonder how he is faring back on level 3. Is he safe? I look back at the screen and see that Amy has finally found what she was looking for. A prompt on the screen says, override of hangar doors and all level 3 locks require clearance code. Amy types in a number with shaking fingers. The screen goes black for a moment. The moment the words override confirmed comes up on the screen, Amy jumps up from the chair and heads out the room. We have to be quick, she says. We have exactly 20 minutes to open those hangar doors. What happens in 20 minutes? The locks will kick in again, she says. Security measures. I couldn't do anything about it. I followed her out in the command center and bound back down the hallway towards the same elevator that brought us here. Amy pushes the elevator button on the door, slides open. We're taking this same elevator back to the biochem room, I asked. Those creatures are still down there. It's the only way back down, she says. The other way is blocked by those hydraulic doors we pulled. Hopefully those creatures left. Hopefully. Neither of us says anything else as we share a look of immense dread. We step back into the elevator and we head back down to the biochem room on the level 3. God damn. The hydraulic doors really messed up how we're gonna get to do shit. As the elevator doors open, we peer open to see if there are creatures still in the area. But it's all clear. When Amy looks to me and her eyes are clear and strong. Marcus wasn't entirely wrong. Amy says if we start walking back towards the hangar doors. About what? I asked. About how I am partially to blame for this. Why would you be to blame? Some of the things we do here, it's scary. We should have known that one day something like this would happen. Everyone here with knowledge of what's going on in level 3 is to blame, she says. It's a highly advanced research facility, I said, doing amazing but risky stuff. So yeah, you're particularly to blame by just working here, but I can't understand the dedication. So why don't you tell me a bit more about what does go on in level 3, I asked. Are you familiar with the Large Hadron Collider over in Switzerland? I've heard of the phrase, but that's about it, I said. It's a powerful particle accelerator, she explains. Right now, they're using it to try and create what's called dark matter. It's theorized that this dark matter actually makes up the majority of the universe, but parts of the universe is very different from ours. My guess is the people at the LHC will probably create their first dark matter particle in the around 2018 or 2019, which is this year, which I don't think there's any information on that yet. Here in the facility, we were able to create one almost 10 years ago. It was the key to our research. What does this matter do? What does this have to do anything with those things? What does this matter do? We use dark matter to assist in instantaneous transfer of a subject, but we have yet to perfect it and understand why it works. So you're saying it lets you gain access to different dimensions, I asked. That's the theory, she says. During the point-to-point transfer, the subjects are gone for about 3 to 6 seconds. There's no way to see or measure their presence, but they exist somewhere. From what we can tell, they exist in a kind of void. Have you done this with people? Have you done this with people? We have sent human subjects, though. Almost all of them have returned successfully. I make an involuntary grimace. Almost? There was one man, Dr. Kana, who didn't return. We don't know where. She trails off, taking a moment to collect herself. Sorry I asked, I said, feeling my mind started to bend inward again. As we continue to walk between the silos, we walk past the area where we left Marcus behind, but he's gone now. Maybe we found a way out. I realized that we are walking very close together between the silos, perhaps trying to create an illusion of safety. We reach the exit connecting to the hangar doors where Dennis Hobley still is. My gut clenched, my heart's hammered in my chest as we open the door and walk through. I lift the rifle, but at first it seems there was nothing to wait for us. That's when I see the glowing, hulking ship to my left, closing in fast. No, fuck me. Oh my god, oh my god. The creature is about 10 feet away and coming in quick, so I do the first thing that comes to mind. I drop to the ground, making myself a smaller target, and raise the rifle. I'm not sure if I should just unload on that bastard or try to be choosy with my shots and weaken it, or at least slow it down. Shoot to weaken, because we don't know. Shoot to weaken. My shot caused an entire milky white face to jerk to the floor. It flounders. This ghost-like tentacles wither in rage as it cries out to me. It seems to turn and jerk away, parts of it appearing to disappear every few feet. It moves down the hallway and out of sight. I look quickly around for others, but there's only Amy. She looks at where the monster went with wide eyes. Her face is pale, and I wonder if, like me, is able to feel her mind trying to retreat. Come on, I said. Let's find Dennis and get through these hangar doors. Amy glances at her watch and nods. We're already down to 6 minutes. We turn towards the hangar doors, and I'm a little disgusted with myself because the bloody scene was so shocked me before we now seem mild. Amy goes to work on the computer console on the side of the door. She starts pushing the codes before saying, This is going to take some time. I thought you already unlocked it. I did, she says. But for this door, there's still security permissions I need to hack. Marcus would have known how to do this. She trails off and I had to let her work. Suddenly, something slams into me. I feel my feet leave the floor, and are literally thrown across the concrete. I look up and down to see one of the creatures is apparently in no hurry to attack me again, focusing on Amy instead. She's not armed. I need to come up with a plan to get this thing away from her so that she can focus on getting the door open. It raises one of the flickering appendages, making me certain that that part of its makeup is pure white in energy. I could easily take a shot with my rifle, but my mind again goes to how much remaining ammo I have. The only thing, fuck, the only thing is to think of is to get it to chase me and lead away from this room somehow. I gotta save the ammo because I already used one. I don't know if I have enough. So let's distract the monster and run. Hey, I yelled, right here, come at me. I'm the one who shot you, shot your buddy. It turns to me, and I again face the staring at something that has no business in this world, in this reality. Its body gives off a sort of glow around the central part, a bulbous cord that is branching off into two lumps, very much like a spider. Again, I sense that this visual information is not accurate, but it's the best that my simple mind can do to make sense of this impossible creature. It starts lurking towards me, letting out a shriek of agony that makes my ears feel like they'll explode. Now that I'm sure that it's coming after me, I take off running to head into another hallway that we haven't been down. I find myself in an industrial looking area, as I'm pleased to find that the monster has followed me through. I'm alone in this one. I gotta be cautious. Oh shit, no. The room seems to be assorted of old pipes and tanks. I assumed some of them run further down to other areas of the facility. With the creatures on my tail, I dash into the maze of metal, hoping to lose it. It's definitely having a harder time squeezing through than I am, and that slows it down. Of course, the room's not a cage of any kind. The thing is still heading towards me, shredding through the pipes as it rages. I notice that sometimes it is breaking the steel girders, but other times it seems like it's somehow merging or changing them. Pipes that were separate are now connected together in a way that makes my head hurt. I finally get a good amount of distance between myself and the creature. I think it's lost my trail. I need to get back to the hangar doors. There's not much time before they close shut, but if I make a sound, that creature could be on my heels again. Hide and escape quietly. I take care to stay silent, twisting myself through some more pipes and make my way back towards the door I entered through. The creature doesn't seem to pick up on this. I seize this glowing back as it's coming around. It lets out a static scream and makes my insides feel like jelly. But I don't even look back. I slide quietly through the rest of the obstacle course and I tiptoe back into the hangar doors. Yes! Oh shit. Oh my god, this is nervous. I burst back into the large room and I see Amy still working on the computer terminal by the hangar door. You okay? I asked Amy. I can clearly see her battling for control for her faculties. Steel determination wins out and gives a grim nod. Any sign of where Dennis went? I asked, hoping she has noticed his body somewhere. No, she replies. It is then I realize I have no idea how many rounds I have remaining in these rifles. This isn't a model I'm familiar with. Outside of some deer hunting, it's not much of an experience. I'm not much of an expert on firearms. Still, I'm able to locate the chamber easily and see that there are 4 rounds left. Not great, but it could be worse. How are we on time? I asked her. 2 minutes. I'm going as fast as I can, she says. Amy does her best to focus on the keyboard, but there's still no sign of Dennis. Before I have time to look around, a screech sound interrupts from the other end of the room. I bring the rifle up to the shooter's stance and turn around. With the hangar doors right behind me, no sign of Dennis, and a closing window of time, I have to be confident. Yet, when 2 monsters come around the corner, my body wants to shut down. The appendages seem to jump in time and space, reaching out for a split second, independent of the body, and then disappears back where they came from. It turns and screeches at me, its glowing tentacles shaking out of its body. My knees tremble uncontrollably. Behind me, Amy shrieks. I feel myself lose control, my mind sliding into the abyss of insanity. I pull myself back from the brink. I got to stay in control. I got 4 shots. I can shoot him. I step away from Amy and the hangar doors towards the monsters, ready to defend her. I ready my rifle, but the creatures waste no time. It makes that jerk motion towards me, and there's a sharp pain in my chest as it collides with me, or through me. It's hard to tell. The instinct is to try to grapple hold of the thing, but when I realize I don't even know if that will work, I'll try to grab it. I need to stall for time. I try to grapple with the creature, but it feels very different from my struggle with Marcus earlier. It's not easily grabbed. My fingers slide through parts of it. Some parts like a ghost, others like jellyfish. Touching it burns my hand, but only slightly. When I realize I can't grip it, I quickly spring back and turn to face it. With a screech of defiance, I raise my rifle and pull around to its core. The shot landed dead center and the light inside of it flickered almost violently. It falls back against the wall, issuing a hiss of its telltale static noise. It then jerks away and retreats, at least for now. Another terror appears as if out of nowhere, screaming at me with a high-pitched whine. It bounds towards, charging to a strange spastic way. I aim a rifle, intending to take this one to the core too. I take several shots, but it still comes at me. As it slams into me, I realize I only have one bullet left. On contact, the wind knocked out of my lungs and back to my head strikes the floor. And neither of these things is the alarm of the fact that the beast is on top of me. The exterior is like a seashell that has been pounded by the surf for so long that it has lost all edges and ridges. But the grip is trying to capture me with its pure violence. I feel as though those light-soaked appendages start to wrap around me. I raise my rifle knowing I still have one shot left. The weight of the monster is erratic. One moment I feel weightless, another I feel like I'm going to be crushed. I push upwards with the rifle to aim, but it's overpowering me. And I'm not sure I'll be able to get an effective shot off. I see the core of this body, a spider-like shape, getting to the rest of its thin white string of tissue. I know I'll be dead within seconds unless I can manage a shot, but I don't know where to aim. This thing has already survived so long. Shoot the center. The creature is seconds away from tearing into my shoulder. I have to stop it now. I grunt as I try to angle the rifle into the direction of the beast's formless core. The apprehension began tugging down the barrel as it was a moment to pull the trigger, releasing a final shot. Thank God I saved this bullet earlier. The shot aggravates it enough to win me some breathing room. I saved my shoulder, but this thing's still alive and kicking. But then I see the creature's extended tentacles in a violent whip-like motion away from me, while it makes this static screeching sound. The creature disappears into thin air and reappears a few feet from me, retreating. With a shuddering cry of desperation, I get to my feet just in time to see the monster head to the direction of the biochem room. Amy looks over to me from her terminal at the hangar store, looking petrified. I manage to tell myself up when I see another figure near us, but to my relief, I realize it's a human figure. Dennis, with a gun. "You okay, boss?" he asks, but his eyes aren't on me. They are looking at the creature, trying to understand what exactly he had just seen. "About 15 minutes ago, I heard the door to the maintenance room unlock," Dennis says, pointing to the room I tried to bust my way into earlier. "Ah," Amy says, "when did you override up?" When I did override up the command center, it unlocked all small doors down here, including the maintenance room. I went inside there and hid," Dennis continues, "and while I was waiting for you to come back, I found a massive truck. There are a few guns in it, so I grabbed this one," he says, patting his shotgun. "I'm glad you're safe, Dennis." "I'm so glad he's safe." "Thanks, boss," he said. "Me too." "She doesn't break eye contact with the panel. Almost done," she replies. Suddenly, without warning, a shot ricochets off the wall behind Amy's head. Startled, we looked over confused. Did Dennis' gun go off? When another shot blasted near us again, we all dropped to the floor. I look around, wondering who or what could possibly be shooting at us. Those creatures don't do anything that sounds remotely like gunfire. Then I see him. Marcus. I should have killed him when I had the chance. He had a rifle and he's walking towards us and the same look in his eyes. "You all deserve to die," he screams, unleashing another round as I hear a whisk by my head. Dennis doesn't hesitate. He stands up and shoots at Marcus, causing him to retreat. "How much longer, Amy?" "Almost there," she says quietly. She makes a few final key presses and said, "Done." The door opens with the noise of hydraulic and whooshes into the air. With Marcus pinned down by Dennis' gunfire, we start moving towards the doors. At that moment, another creature jerks into existence around the corner between us and Marcus. "Shit," Marcus says, and started unloading into it. But then he learns the same lesson we did. This only slows the creature down. Marcus gives us one last look and then turns and runs off in another direction. Dennis, Amy, and I climb up to head through the doors, moving on nothing more than adrenaline. I see her looking longingly at the maintenance room Dennis took the shotgun from. "You get into the hangar," Dennis says. "I'll get some more firepower." Satisfied with the plane, Amy heads through the door. We scramble inside, finally inside the hangar. Dennis approaches from behind, holding several guns and looking like a kid who's grabbed an armful of Halloween candy. Amy reaches out for a 9mm with one hand. Dennis turns to me and holds out a shotgun and a handgun for me to choose. Both look deadly. The shotgun looks more powerful, but the handgun will be more precise. Shotgun. You took the shotgun. I take the shotgun, surprised at how heavy it feels, but almost invigorated by its weight. There are more creatures coming, as many as a dozen. They are floating down the hall quickly, their tentacles slithering. The way their light seems to mingle together almost beautifully. Close the door, I yell at Amy. She dashes to another air terminal mounted on the inside of the hangar doors and tries desperately to close them. It's not working, she says, with tears in her eyes. This terminal is disabled. Dennis looks through the open doors, ready himself to shoot the first monster that nears us. Should we try to slow a few down, or just run for it, he says. This gun is at the ready. Let's run for it. Let's run for it. We gotta just go. Good idea, says Amy. With that, we turn around and sprint out onto the hangar floor. Oh, fuck me. This is not fun at all. The room is enormous, so large that to call it a room seems silly. A large concrete floor stretched out below the expansive lofted ceiling. An area is mostly empty except for one side, which has rows and rows of metal barrels. Back on the far wall is a lit area that seems to expose more rooms, labs, and machinery. Almost in the near of the hangar, I can see some kind of chamber or control center. Dennis and I follow Amy across the floor, a hangar floor. Behind us, a series of rough, slithering sounds tell us that the creatures have made their way into the hangar. From somewhere up ahead, a loud buzzing noise shouts out. Reminds me of the slight buzzing noise I heard from the forest, then the noise that got me into all this trouble in the first place. I'll look ahead to see that to the far back of the hangar, a bright red light is flashing. There is a small hatch or door below the light. The hatch is open and I can see a shape inside it. I can barely make out the figure of a man standing there holding an industrial microphone. As soon as I see him, I heard his huge amplified voice. It blared down over the intercom system as he sounds pissed. I don't know who the hell you are, he says, but this is a government facility on lockdown and there are protocols to shit. I assume the curse coincides with the exact moment he sees the creatures. They are making their way through the hangar doors. They're about 20 feet between us and the creatures as I act instinctively, squeezing out 2 shots with my shotgun. The first plays shrill, hitting the floor and causing a shower of sparks, but the second one shots cause one monster to jerk backwards. It's a good idea that the shotgun is quite forgiving. Amy and Dennis take the cue and start firing as well. The floor becomes littered with swirls of white fluid from the wounded creatures' bodies, but they're not slowing down. The alarm keeps shrinking behind us, and when I turn to see if anything has changed back there, I tripped over my feet. I hit the ground hard in an almost cosmic fashion, slide several feet across the floor. From the ground, I see that we managed to turn back 4 of them, but I also see that my estimate is a dozen is off. There are at least 20 of them. They're sick, dim, light, sinister, and gloomy. Their appendages seem to be bound together as they come forward. The only hope of survival is that the man in the far doorway has somehow shuts that hangar doors. His voice comes blurring over the intercom again, broken by the booming noise of the gunfire that we are laying down. Run here towards the isolation chamber. I'm not sure how much time we have, but I realize that I can sprint ahead of Amy and Dennis, or I can hang back and give them cover. Give them cover. Go inside where that guy is, I said. I'll make sure that we don't have any of those things right on our tail. I'll hold them back for a while. I know it sounds macho, but it also seems like the right thing to do. I have to at least try to give us some kind of chance for escape. So as Amy and Dennis run through the doors, I blast at the next thing as I see moving. I get All I can get for the trouble is that static like hiss and a high-pitched whistling noise. I'm able to beat them back a bit, forcing them to scatter. Each flicker of light is a small victory. If nothing else, I'm buying Amy and Dennis time. When it's certainly there is nothing more I can do, I turn and run. I hustle, quickly catching up to Amy and Dennis, who stop and turn to provide me some cover fire. There, Amy says, pointing to the small door where the man is standing earlier. The swarm is less than 15 feet away now, so furious that they are pushing through one another to get to us. I fire, still not quite used to the kick of the shotgun. I aim for the core of one, but its shot hits low. Still, it knocks the bastard back, giving me time to ready just. We're in the middle of the hangar floor now, with the isolation chamber ahead and the monsters behind. Behind me, Dennis also fires. The kick of the gun jolts him, probably the result of him weakened by the blood loss. His shots land true, though, causing him to jerk, stumble, and flicker of the light. We're almost in, Amy yells as we are getting close to the door we hope we will survive. Tells Dennis and Amy to go in first. Get inside, I tell Amy and Dennis, motioning them to get moving with my gun. I open the door and give Dennis a push forward. He resisted, more eager to try taking down another of the beasts before he makes it to the safety, but he eventually gets in. I wait a beat and make sure Amy's inside too. I fire off a few rounds at the creatures that are still heading for us, hoping to slow them down. When Amy and Dennis clear the door, I nearly dash inside, but I feel something hot seep into my back. Roger! Dennis yells. The pain in my back was so immense that I barely noticed the fact that I've been lifted from the floor. I look down and see that one of the creatures is using its long arms to grab me by my waist, its tentacles wrapping around me. It lifts me into the air as if presenting me as a trophy to its friends. I can't angle the shotgun to fire off a round, so I bring the stock up to it down the monster's translucent fluid smooth body. It's like striking a fog. My attack is very little effort. As it continues to hoist me up, screeching disapproval, Dennis comes back out of the room and fires off a shot. God damn it, Dennis! The bullet catches the monster out of the underside of his core, sending it backwards and causing it to freeze for a moment. It releases me and hits the ground, dropping my gun again and finding myself unable to breathe. I feel slightly dizzy, but that fades when I see Dennis is still standing outside the door. He fires into the beast like a madman, doesn't see the one to his left coming along. Fires, pushes him out the way. I try to dash towards Dennis to push him out the way, but there's not enough time. The creature jerks out of existence and it reappears right behind him. By the time Dennis turns to see the creature coming, he's already drawn still the opportunity back to strike. Fuck! Dennis tries to raise his gun, but is knocked away by the tentacles. The second tentacle strikes the Dennis and spun around and throw off balance by the attack. I can't speak right now. Dennis catches himself before falling. The third tentacle wrapped around Dennis's forearm and I can see it squeezing tight and instantly. The tip of the appendages passes clean through his hand, this blood-soaked tip poking out of his palm. Dennis' face grimaces with pain as he tries to wrench his arm free, but the creature's tentacle has his hand speared like a nail through wood. At the moment dark clarity, I realize I have to free him with a clean shot at the monster's tentacle. But it will likely mean blowing Dennis's hand off. Dennis, I yelled over the creature's high-pitched static noise. Can you get free? I have a shot. Maybe. No! Dennis gasped at the creature tossing him around by his hand like a puppet. Don't shoot. I can get free. Oh God. I can't tell if he's right, but the monsters are starting to circle him. I need to act fast. Lord, what do I do? What do I fucking do? Oh my God. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Dennis is caught. If I shoot him. But the creatures are starting to encircle. I need to act fast. I gotta shoot. Why has to be that choice? I have to. Okay, if Dennis doesn't make it, bro. If Dennis doesn't make it, I'll be pissed. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm trusting Dennis. I'm trusting him. Dennis! You wait to see if Dennis could get free. Dennis is fighting hard, doing everything he can to bring the gun around with his good hand. He screams as he tries to tear his way his arm, screaming both fear and desperation. This will only seem to anger the creature, which he then swats Dennis with another of his tentacles, opening a deep gash across his cheek. His skin peels back and his eyes go wide in shock. The creature drops him to the ground as if he's playing with him, and then the floor and space around Dennis seems to warp. The ball and cord of his body seems to the boy realizes he's been merged to the floor. At that moment, I know it's over. 3 other swarm him surrounding. No, Dennis! Dennis! Oh my fucking god! 3 other swarm around the event is falling, but I don't even hear damn scream. There's just no fear. Crackling cigarettes. After that, there's nothing else. Fury, sorrow, absolute rage surges through my heart. I grab my gun. The remaining beast comes towards me. They'll kill me if I don't care. This is war. As far as I'm concerned, this is. Amy grabs me from behind and pulls me hard inside. I try fighting her off, but she's persistent. And part of my mind knows she's right. Don't be an idiot, she yells at him. She's practically thrown me through the doorway. As I fell, I hear her fire off 2 shots before slamming the door closed behind her. I watch bitterly as she punches a few buttons on the control pad on the wall. This is followed by a metallic clink as the door locks. But we are safe in this chamber. But Dennis is gone. I should have shot his fucking hand. I should have shot his fucking hand. Fuck! He was right there in that fucking door. We are now inside a large enforced chamber of sorts, almost like the inside of a ring. Near us is the door shut tight, far away from us along the back wall of all sorts of controls and monitors. It seems clear that this metal door is impenetrable, at least to them. I'm fairly sure that they aren't getting in. Dennis, I said. I'm sorry, Amy says, and I'm sorry for pulling you back. You were walking to your death out there. I know, I said, but that doesn't make it any easier. I couldn't quite see, but it looks like you may have had a shot. Why didn't you take it? I thought he would get away. Roger. Amy says, my God, I'm sorry. There's no way you could have known. Who did I think I was? Trying to bring him to this wretched place, hoping to save his life. A lot of good that did. I ended up letting him die right in front of me anyway. Out of nowhere, an image of Dennis pumping his fists after winning a game of pool pops into my head. Dennis always wins. Always gets away. Except for this time. It's terrible for me to say, Amy says, but you're right. He's dead. But we're still alive. And we need to get out of here. How? I said, nearly mocking her. By taking it one thing at a time. We need to figure out how bad it is and how to get ourselves under control. And then, well, we are interrupted by the man's voice booming behind us. Just what in the hell do you think you're doing? The man roars. He's an older man who seems to intrude a power and authority, but he also looks tired and scared. I assume this is Barksdale. He walks over to us from the back recesses of the chamber. We didn't have a choice, Amy responds. We had to. Did you override the locks of the hangar doors? Barksdale demanded. Yes, I did, but we had to. Do you have any idea what you could have done? Amy doesn't answer right away, but she is furious, but she is also scared and visibly exhausted. I assume it's Barksdale. Stay quiet. Look, Barksdale, she says. You can berate me and lecture me all you want when this mess is over. But right now, I have a wounded civilian here, and as you can see, several entities try to get into this room. So if you could actually do something instead of sitting on your throne and yelling at me, that would be great. I'm impressed by her guts, and I wonder if there's some sort of beef between the two of them. Surely working in a place like this could have caused some stress and tension between people. As we wait, I notice a small peephole in the door. I can go to and look out to the thing. They're still looking for a way in, but finding no success. I wonder if they can sense somehow to see through the door. Flip them the bird. Do nothing. I still don't understand what these things are capable of, and trying to figure it out hurts my head. So I decided to leave them be. You'll be reprimanded for speaking to me in such a way, Barksdale says to Amy. Reprimanding me all you want. I like to survive this first. Cover your ears, Barksdale shouts, walking towards the far end of the room. Stay put until you hear back from me. Thank you, Amy says with fire in her voice. She then turns to me and says, better do what the man says. Cover your ears. Don't. I clap my hands over my ears just in time to protect my ear from the deafening blast. I can still see my blood rushing out. I wonder if this is what Dennis felt like at the beginning of his end. Before the sorrow of losing Dennis has consumed me, something slaps against the wall of that room with tremendous force. I assume this is just another of the monsters slithering along the wall, but when I turned back towards the door, I heard something surprising. More bursts of a loud exploding noise started ringing out. I looked through the peephole again to see the core of one of the beasts explode. It vanishes in the puff of smoke and clear liquid. Looking to my left, I see Barksdale in a shooting stance at the far side of the room. He's firing through a small slit in the wall.
Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you. He's using some high-powered weapon. It's like someone she never seen. I see a slight movement as the gun kicks, accompanied by a flicker of white light. Immediately another monster is down, its tentacles flailing around aimlessly as sort of this core is torn through. I instantly feel gratitude and an immense satisfaction in knowing that they have been picked off in such a way. Sit down and rest. I slide down against the door and simply wait, listening to the occasional patter of what I assume is their blood on the wall. I don't know how much time passes, maybe 5 seconds, maybe 5 minutes, and I don't care. It feels nice to lay down. When the firing is over, I barely even notice it. Soon after, Barksdale walks back over to our side of the room. They're all gone, Barksdale says, and I've resealed the hangar doors. How did you kill them like that, I asked. Classified weapons that, quite frankly, you have no business being near. Amy gets to her feet and returns to the panel on the wall. Thanks. How badly is this civilian hurt? Barksdale asks Amy, as if I'm not good enough for him to speak to. A nasty cut, Amy answered. If he gets some quick attention, he'll be okay. Okay, then I'll get Strickland to get medicate. Strickland survived? Amy asked, sounded cheerfully. Yes, and until you and your friends showed up, I thought we were the only ones. Hang tight. She's on her way. With that said, she retreats away at the back of the room as if he can't stand to be around us. Amy approaches me and looks me over. You're in good hands. Strickland will be able to fix you up. Is she a doctor or something? Sort of. She's also a physician, but oddly enough, she spent time at a trauma nurse as a trauma nurse in the army. Is Strickland a friend of yours? I asked. Amy chuckles. Yeah, we've known each other for a while. The only woman in the sea of overachieving men. You must be glad Strickland survived. I am. We usually have lunch together, she says, and she helps me out for a few tight spots in my career. Within a few seconds, the door behind us opens and the woman appears from the back further in the chamber. She enters the room with what looks like a small suitcase. She is dressed in the very basic drab military getup, complete with a holstered sidearm. My name is Connie Strickland, she says, getting straight to the point. I can patch you up pretty good, but it's gonna hurt. I nod, honestly not caring how much it hurts. My God, I just want to get out of here, to get home. I sit down and let's see if we can get your shirt off, Strickland says. I sit down slowly and started unbuttoning my shirt. She had to help me slip it off of my shoulders, but we managed. How bad is it? I asked. Bad, she said. It almost looks like a burn, but I've seen much worse. I might as well talk to Strickland, if only to distract from the pain. What's your story? Strickland rolls her eyes as she gathers up the needles and says, I was always into fringe science. I started in labs when these eccentric Russian scientists were being funded by the US to work on combining DNA types. I started being obsessed with perfecting human physiology while I was a trauma nurse in the army. You're a mad scientist then, I said. I get that a lot, but no, not compared to the stuff we do here. What kind of stuff? It's complicated. Colmar masses, quantum gravity, crushing things down to their Schwarzschild radius, fun stuff. Yeah, mad scientist, I said, trying to keep myself calm with dry humor. There are lots of small labs working on the same stuff, she argues. They just don't have our funding. When you guys ran in here, she says, it's horrible. It was horrible. It was horrified. Those barrels outside. I'm not sure if you saw them. Well, if you shot them, they could have been bad. Why? I asked. The gray ones are filled with an experimental fuel that is highly flammable. The yellow ones contain liquid nitrogen. What? I asked. Just lying around? Well, this area is the safest in the building, the most secure. Well, it used to be anyway. And take this, she says, handing me 4 pills, painkillers. They won't work immediately, but they'll dull the worst of what you're feeling. Are these the best idea? I asked. Won't they make me dizzy or out of sorts for something? All I get in response is an annoyed, determined look. I'll take the painkillers. You took the painkillers. I dry swallow the pills as she starts working on me. She slathers the wound with some sort of liquid that stings like crazy and I gasp. I grin and bear it. Ready to stab me yet? Strickland says. I'm fine, I hiss. I wince as she dabs at my eye, swollen from where Marcus kicked me. Grit my teeth in pain and try to catch my breath. The anticipation is the worst part. I'm relieved to find that it doesn't hurt as much as I feared. It's no picnic for sure, but compared to the fire-like pain in my wound, it's bearable. So you and Barksdale are the only survivors, Amy asks. It seems that way. Those that didn't disappear to thin air were killed by those things, Strickland says, nodding to the secure door. How many were killed? I'm guessing 30 or so, Strickland says. I'm not sure how many were scheduled to come in today. I'm glad to see you. Where were you when it happened, Amy asks. I was in the micro lab in level 2, Strickland replies. Park and O'Brien were in there with me and they just disappeared, I guess. It looks like they were been stretched, disordered, and then they were a ball of white light and they were gone. The ball of white light just annihilated everything it touched. Would it leave a perfectly round hole? I asked. A light bulb turned. Would it leave a perfectly round hole? I asked. A light bulb turned on in my head. We saw some of those up in the logging site. That was probably the same phenomenon, Strickland replied. Amy looked like the child afraid to ask an adult for something. Finally she asked, where did they go? We don't know, Strickland says. It could be an infinite number of different dimensions, or even some dimensions that merged and mixed together. It could also be a place that exists between dimensions. Barksdale calls it the void. How is that possible? We don't know that just yet, Strickland says. Our understanding of space-time is evolving, especially when you start warping it like we have been doing, Amy added. That point seems to be the end of the conversation, as both women fell quiet. I winced through the rest of Strickland's stitching, feeling the tug in my skin, but thankfully no more flowing blood. Finally, Strickland says, you're good to go. I slide my shirt back on, wearing the thick pad of gauze that Strickland applied to my shoulder. So, have you and Barksdale been able to contain all those creatures, Amy asks? Strickland appears shocked, clearly not the reaction Amy was expecting. Contain? Are you nuts? Do you not know what's happening? Amy's eyes widen and fill with confusion. What do you mean? What's happening? Other than the initial experiment failure. The anomalies are becoming more numerous, the further from the source, Strickland says. The casual humor in her voice is now gone. Further from the source? From the location of the original experiments. The experiment caused the first doorway to open, but it set off a chain reaction. They are gaining momentum along the geodesics emanating from the facility. It's these pockets of exotic matter and negative energy that is letting those things in. What the hell does that mean? I ask. It means, Amy chimes in, that those doorways and monsters are starting to appear all over the facility, maybe even the surface. Not yet, luckily, Strickland says, but the doorways will start appearing on the surface, and it won't stop there. The anomalies could extend infinitely as far as we know. Those entities will appear on the surface in other states, other countries. Holy shit, I said. You mean the world could be overrun? The horror of the past few hours had made me ready to believe anything, but this is almost too much. Unfortunately, yeah, Strickland says. My God, Amy says, stepping away. Isn't there anything we can do? There is a last resort, Strickland says. Her eyes darted over to Barksdale at the back of the room. There's an emergency fail-safe switch. What? Amy says. I never heard of that. Where? You weren't cleared for it, Strickland replies. And that switch, Amy says, is the way to stop this? Yes, Strickland says, seemingly uneasy with the conversation. What does the switch do? The switch is our eraser, she says. It destroys the entire facility and terminates any systems or experiments that has been conducted. It is also an emergency shutdown for interdimensional travel. It puts an event horizon around the facility. What the hell is that? I ask incredulously. It's the perimeter of a black hole, she replies. The boundary inside which nothing can escape, not even light. But there's two problems with hitting the switch. So the first problem is we'd all be killed, sucked into the black hole before we have time to evacuate. The second reason, Strickland whispers suddenly quiet, is that Barksdale won't allow it. What? Amy gasps. Why not? She wants to allow those things to flood the surface. Thousands, millions will die. Strickland puts her hand out, silencing Amy. We both peer over to the far side of the room, where Barksdale has his back turned. I know. He says he doesn't care. He says he'll be happy to be rid of the oversight. So he can continue his work. The oversight? Amy almost screams, regaining control over her voice when Strickland gives her another look of warning. You mean our government? I ask. He's aware this could disrupt, even topple our government, and he doesn't care. Strickland sighs. Barkland is, well, he's off the range right now. He's gone rogue, and he's armed. This comment made me look towards the shotgun I brought in with me. I nearly forgotten it at the last few moments. While Barksdale has his back towards us, I take it in my hands and slide it behind him. Just in time too, Barksdale walks over from the back of the room to our side at the chambers. He gives Strickland a suspicious look before speaking to her. Is the civilian going to survive? He asks. Yes, he's stitched up and good to go, Strickland replies. That's great news, Barksdale says. I'm sitting right here, I said sarcastically. You can actually speak to me, you know. Amy, it's quite nice to see you have survived, he says. Were there any others? The aloft way this asshole is talking to us is getting under my skin. A guy named Marcus that works on the first level from IT, Amy says. That's all I know for sure. Marcus Papscott, Barksdale says. Where is he? We're not sure, I said. He was separated from us. Oh? Barksdale replies, clearly taken aback by the stern reply. That's unfortunate. Barksdale seems to think about something and then looks directly at me. You're with the logging crew, aren't you? Reminds me, how did you get in again? Through the building and the surface. Ah, makes sense. The cloaks for that entrance shed was tied to a primary source, Barksdale says, and we lost primary power just before the experiment failed. Cloak? Yes. Strickland says, the shed you enter is usually not visible to the naked eye. Depending on the power source that were damaged, Barksdale continues, it could have also shut down the locking system before backing up kicking in. Everything is starting to make sense now. From the very start, it has seemed peculiar that we so easily been able to walk into the place like this. It was a power shortage. Where's the rest of my crew? Your crew? Barksdale asks. Frank? Joe? They're gone. Gone? Gone where? I asked. My voice trembled. Hearing him speaking the names of my crew members enraged me. They were annihilated by an antimatter pocket created during the failure. A bright ball of light. In the aftermath, all you see will be a round hole in the ground. Oh, fuck me. Barstow says this like he's sharing yesterday's sports score. I let my face crumble to my hands. As I expected this, all this time, they were already dead. What caused the experiment to fail? Your crew hit one of our main power lines. We weren't sure exactly how, but we know that that's what did it. You trying to blame all this on me? I roar. The timing was unfortunate, Barstow says. So, Amy asks, what do we do now? Now, it's time to continue our work, Barstow says calmly, turning away to the instruments that are on. Ooh, you fucking. Turn away to the instruments of the to the instruments on the near wall. You are insane. Why would you continue? You're insane. You want to keep your little toys to yourself? I said, my teeth clenched. And you're willing to release those monsters on the world to do it? Indeed, Barstow says. I want to continue our work. Other researchers will eventually discover what we have, sure. But I want it to be me. This is my laboratory. These are my experiments. The work I've led here will earn me the place in history. And quite frankly, I don't need to explain it to you. Up on the surface, they'll struggle to defend themselves since they won't know what they'll deal with. That I have the necessary weapons. After a few months, who knows? Maybe I'll decide the world will be ready for me to help them. And we'll go from there. Strickland steps directly beside me and whispers in my ear. I wouldn't push him, she says. He's usually very logical, but this whole thing has pushed him somewhere else. He's, well, off. He turns his back to us as he says this, walking to the far side of the chamber like we're some kind of distraction. Amy takes this opportunity to whisper to us. We need to hit that switch, she says. It's the only option. What he's saying is murder, treason, genocide. She looks over to Strickland for support, trailing off. But Strickland looks at the ground, clearly torn. She won't look anyone in the eye and makes an effort to not look at Barksdale. He seems distracted with whatever instrument he's studying on the far side of the room. The dreamlike quantity I experimented earlier is wearing off. The painkillers seem to be losing their edge. Strickland finally whispers a response. Even if we decide that we want to hit that switch, Barksdale won't allow it. Can you figure something else out, right? Maybe you guys can make a break for it, Strickland replies. Where is the switch located? There's an elevator out in the hangar, Strickland says. Take it to the basement. The switch is at the end of the long tunnel. But Strickland never finishes. Two things happen at once as she speaks. Her mouth stopped in mid-sentence. First, a loud booming noise rings out, and then the top of her head seems to explode. Amy screams out in surprise and jumps back into shock as Strickland's body collapsed beside me. Behind her fallen body, Barksdale holding his experimental rifle, and now he's pointing at us. Oh my god. I wonder if Barstow is even crazier than Marcus. He just shot a woman that worked for him to keep her quiet. Surely he won't have an issue with killing me. Now, Barstow yells, no more whispering, no more secrets. You two will stay in here and get away from that door. If anyone whispers one more thing, I'll blow your heads off. My mind is racing to figure out a way to get through the secure door into the hangar. Beyond that, of course, there was a failsafe switch. He's very logic. Fuck! You fucking... That done ticked me off. That honestly just pissed me off. That honestly just pissed me off. Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. Alright. If I die, I might as well just make sure. I tried my best to be a good but as well as on my feet a bitch. I stopped, started towards again, then I wobbled some more. Amy is apparently catching on because she is at my side in a second. She looks over to Barstow and says, "He's lost a lot of blood. Let me check his wounds really quick." After he dared to talk to me like that, "He's been through a lot," she argues. "He's clearly delusional." You can check him back here," Barstow says. "You have 30 seconds to get away from the door or I will." I stretched out my acting skills and actually stumbled to a knee, make a show of trying to get to my feet and stand still for a moment. "I'm okay," I said. "I'm okay. I think as quickly as I can, I raised my gun and fired. I didn't even take aim. I just fired at Barstow's general direction. Barstow takes off running as my shot misses wide. He runs for cover in the back of the room. That's all I need. Amy also fires a shot to keep him under the cover as we headed for the door. Amy pushes a button and the door swings open. Barstow will be on us in a second, so we dash out to the hangar, ready to defend ourselves. This crazy son of a bitch. Amy and I run as fast as I can through the row of barrels. Barstow comes charging out of the chamber almost immediately. As he steps into the hangar door, he starts shooting. Each shot sends a jolt of fear through me as I wait for a bullet to end my life. "We need to get to the elevator at the far side of the room," Amy tells me. "It leads down to the switch." We gotta sprint. We gotta go. "Okay," she says. "Go." I take a few shots at Barstow's direction. Succeeding in getting him to take cover, I pause in his stream of fire. We both make a run for it, knowing we only have seconds. Somehow I make it through the row of barrels and get in the elevator's entrance. I turn back to allow Amy to enter first, but she isn't there. I look back to the barrels and see that she has fallen. No, Amy! Oh, fuck! She has fallen about halfway down the row. She doesn't appear to be hurt, but she is paralyzed with fear, sitting motionless as Barstow peppers the area with gunfire. I gotta give her cover. Oh, I don't know what to do. I gotta run back and give her cover. I started to step out into the open and head back for Amy, but Barstow's gunfire pins me back into the elevator entrance with a loud pang. Apparently, he's reloading that gun of his. As the sparks fly inches from my face, I realize I have to help her from here, and then remember that the contents of the barrel. One color is highly flammable, fuel, and the other is liquid nitrogen. I'm no scientist, but I'm pretty sure liquid nitrogen is mostly harmless unless you have direct contact. If one of the barrels gets shot and the liquid nitrogen peels out, I'm fairly positive it will simply evaporate. I could create a cover sort for Amy, like a smoke cloud. And hell, which of the barrels holds liquid nitrogen? Strickland told us, but I can't remember. I can remember quickly or Boxer is gonna get careless with shooting and we're gonna die. Oh fuck! Hold on. Wait. Oh fuck. Oh my god. I can stop recording right here so I can do it. Hold on. I'm gonna stop the recording and I can look at the video. I got it. The gray ones were flammable. The yellow ones had liquid nitrogen. The yellow barrels, I'm fairly certain to have liquid nitrogen in them. Without giving myself a single moment to second guess myself, I am at one and pulled the trigger. There's a ping noise followed by a hiss. The steam of liquid nitrogen spills out and begins to evaporate immediately. Amy looks around for a moment, clearly baffled, and then figures out what I've done. She hits the ground right away for a moment. I lose sight of her as the cloud of mist. Behind us, Barstow starts to fire, apparently not caring if he hasn't hit one of the barrels with the fuel in it. Moments later, I see Amy's shape emerge from the mist. There's a terrifying second where she's out of the mist and then exposed space between the barrels and the particular elevator interior. Barstow gets off 2 shots, but the nitrogen mist has obscured his vision too much for him to get a proper aim. However, one of them nicks Amy's leg, sending her toppling just before she reaches the entrance of the entrance. I dash out, lifting her up, with both hobble over to the elevator behind the cover of the mist. Thank God for you remember which barrel was which, she says. Thank you, recording. Thank you. I reach out to press the call button to the elevator. We both step inside and close the doors. It's a service elevator, made of wood and metal, like something from a coal mine. We step inside, the doors close. The motors of the elevator sound like dying dogs. As the elevator slides down, the light from the flames gives way to complete darkness. Blackness. I am so happy that I remembered this is some fucked up creepy shit. I wasn't gonna let Amy die. Hell no. I let Dennis die. I was so pissed. I lose track of how long the elevator descends. It's hard to tell due to the lack of lighting. But must go another 500 feet underground. The elevator comes to a stop with a shuddering clang, and without no time exiting, a tunnel stretches out with sparse white bowls lighting the way. Most of the wall is made of raw earth and rock, but there are boards and concrete slathered in areas used to be using Freeforce the tunnel. I see a warning sign posted on the wall. I want to read it, but there's not much time. Ran through the tunnel. I don't care. There's no time. That switch is down the tunnel. It has to be flipped no matter what. Suddenly I feel the effects of the painkillers again. My head feels like a balloon, and my balance is off kilter. I look up when I see that the tunnel ceiling is less than 6 inches over my head. The claustrophobia fears freeze me for a moment. The ceiling is not high at all, but there's barely enough room for Amy and I to walk side by side, which is for her best because her leg is clearly causing her a great deal of pain. She's soaked in blood and hobbled along. I don't think I can go any further, she says, wincing, but try to keep her composure. Sit down, I tell her. I'll be back. There's no sense in chancing further injuries to your leg. She nods and I help her down. She shudders in pain and as she eases into sitting position on the floor. Thanks, she says. According to Strickland, the switch should be at the end of this hall. I look up and I see that the tunnel ceiling is less than 6 inches over my head. Claustrophobia freezes me for a moment. Still, it's much better than facing the monsters above me. I wonder then, walking through darkness, where they came from. The portal still open? I hold the gun in one hand and feel my way along the wall with the other. The wall under my palm anchors me to reality, to insanity. I'm not in some boundless abyss, but still, still in the real world. For a little while longer, at least. I recognize that I'm marching into my end. As much as I wish I weren't, it's not surprising. For the moment I saw what those creatures could do at time and space, at least a part of me knew that death was inevitable. But before I have a time to wonder whether my family will really miss me, I see a light ahead. It's nothing more than a speck of blue light. But in the darkness of the tunnel, this is like a lighthouse on a stormy sea. I slog forward, my eyes strained to focus on that little light ahead. From somewhere ahead, I started hearing something that sounds like water. It is trickling lightly, like a licking faucet. And behind that, there's something that sounds like wind, a light breeze through an open field, and a voice. Anywhere else, its sounds would be pleasant, but here in the blackness of the tunnel, they're menacing. Stay quiet. I don't make a sound. Instead, I try to make sense of what's going on around me. I cocked my head, trying to concentrate. Then I realized that I can see the tunnel's walls now. This is odd, as I wasn't able to see them a few seconds ago. This is different from blue light than the end of the tunnel. It is then that I see the slight slither in the air. It looks like a foggy mirror steaming over after a shower, and it's moving, dancing in the air like some abstract firefly. It's not menacing like the creatures, so its threat is null. It's peaceful, serene. I watch as this shimmer branches out and becomes 2, then 3, then 4. They snake out in different directions, trancing the tunnel walls. Are these shimmers the door to another dimension that Strickland was talking about? Suddenly, I'm surrounded by light above and below me and realize there's no avoiding it. The question is, how am I going to go through? Head first. I stick my head through and feel a tingling sensation, almost pleasant. I reach out slowly, my hand stretched out to one of those shimmers as what I can only assume is some kind of light. They're hypnotizing, so much so that I don't realize that the tunnel's walls are vanishing. I feel something like wind and a brief electrical pulse pass through me as the lights take me. There is then a very gentle push sensation as I somehow know that I'm being expelled. As I pass through something, maybe the lights, maybe the tunnel walls, I don't know, but the shimmering lights fade a bit, still dancing in the air but no longer large and branching out. As my eyes adjust, I see right away that I'm no longer standing in that dark tunnel far beneath the hangar. I have no idea where I am. I'm just somewhere else, and I'm terrified. Lord Jesus Christ. Oh my God. The ground I land on looks like hot coals. There are dips of very many cliffs breaking the landscape ahead of me. There's a wash of orange and blue overhead in the sky that makes no sense. It is both beautiful and terrifyingly at once. A scattering of stars hanging overhead, and they all seem to be breathing, pulsing with a gentle energy as if alive. I can't tell if they're clouds of the sky because everything about it, from the colors to the trembling horizon line, seems to be amorphous. Everything is knitting together, living. I stare a moment longer, and I swear I feel the sky is breathing. Far off to my right, I see what looks like to be a plume of fire, small yet bright, with no source of fuel. It looks as if the ground itself is creating the flame. Several more of these flames dot the landscape further out. The air is thick and muggy. Then I realize something horrible. I don't know if I'm breathing here resembles air at all. In a place like this, one of possible beauties but also very stark horror, my mind doesn't know what to do. The wave of nausea comes over me, and I think I might be sick. I'm not sure if I will be better to fight it or to give in. The white light has brought me here is nowhere to be found. Is there anywhere else here? Is there a way to escape? Look around the area. I continue to look out at that nightmarish landscape to see a few other unexplainable oddities. There are billowing flames in the distance, not like a volcano or explosion, just some kind of slow heat crawling upwards that defies reality. This analogy seems to be more fitting when I see the thin van-like roots of the fire twisting into the ground and then darting back out in all directions. I get that sick feeling again in my gut, realizing my mind just needs something to focus on. Then I hear a voice. It is faint, distant. I turn to hear it coming out of one of the mass crevices along the ground. Inside of that crack, about 10 feet down, a very pale man lies on the ledge. He is human, but he looks close to death. He is in the center of the large pool of blood, and his left leg has been twisted and torn in a natural way. As I walk to the ledge, he looks up to seize me. "Help me, please," the man says. His eyes are wide, although everything about him speaks of weakness. He is close to death and insane, or both. "Who are you?" "I'm Dr. Ghana." He strains to get out. "I work in the facility. Please, help." I want to know more, but it seems cruel to steal what looks like his last breath from him to answer questions. "I'd love to," I respond, "but I don't know where the hell I am or how to get back home." "The light," he says. "It's a doorway. It might take you back to the facility." "Where did it go?" "They come and go. They'll be back. Now please help me." I desperately want to help, but there's no way I can reach him. His ledge is too far away, above the pool of fire. "I don't think I can get to you," I said. "No, that's not what I mean," he replies. His eyes on the shotgun. I almost forgot I was still holding it. I realize what he wants, and I shake my head. "I can't," I said. "I can't do that." "Please," he pleads. "Those things, they have the others that come here with me. I got dropped along the way. They'll be back, and they'll kill me. That," he says again, indicating the gun, "will be quicker, less painful." I can't," I repeated. "Please, look at my damn leg. I'm dead already." I'm about to refuse him again when I hear the all too familiar static sound out from another crevice behind him. I hear another of those shrill noises and then watch as one of those monsters materializes up out of the neighboring crevices. Two more come out after it, then a third, then 5, then 10, and soon I lose count as what was just a few turns into a flood. I suddenly understand the man's reasoning. A bullet will be a mercy. I check the gun to see if I only have one shot left. I can use it to this guy, but I may need for myself later. From beside me, the man pleads again. "My God," he says, a waver of lunacy in his voice. "Please." I look back to the man and wince. I know it's the right thing to do, but my finger resists. With a roar of disgust, I level the gun towards his head. I turn my eyes and then pull the trigger. Your aim is true. The man crumbles lifeless to the ground. That's when I see the shimmers waving to my right in the direction I originally came from. I look back to the monsters to see that they have now noticed me. Some of them began floating up the walls of the crevice, and they are less than 10 feet separating us. The shimmers of white light are within arm's reach. The movements remind me of a fish in an aquarium. I reach out and feel myself accepted by them again. The feeling sensation of wind and waiting for the feeling of being pushed out back to the tunnel facility. But it doesn't come this time. This time I feel something else. I feel a tugging sensation that seems to be wanting to drag me in all directions at once. As the road goes dark, I realize that I'm somewhere else, and I'm not in the darkness of the tunnel. I'm in the darkness of total void. Oh, fucking damn. There is darkness around me everywhere. Nothingness. I feel nothing under my feet. Nothing to my sides. I can't feel or sense anything at all. I don't even know which way is up or down, as though I'm all that exists. As I remain there, I just hear silence. Not even the sound of my heartbeat. The blackness is so deep that I feel I can't distinguish between my thoughts and what is real. I hear screaming, but I can't tell if it's someone else or my mind screaming to fill this void. Try to move. I try to kick and move my arms. It's not working. But it's not clear in what way it's not working. Are my limbs not moving, or they've gone numb? It's impossible to tell. My body has just become absent of all sensation. I assume this is the place that Strickland referred to, the place between dimensions. This darkness could consume me if it wanted to. I try to will myself out of it, to have some shimmer light spit me out, but it isn't happening. At this point, my mind starts to hallucinate, or at least I think it does. Are they visions? My mind's playing tricks on me? I can't tell. All I can do is watch. I see the logging site and Tony's legs still pinning under the dozer. I feel a pang of regret that I've left him in such a state. I see myself talking to Dennis. He looks so distraught as I tell him that Tony is gone. Then the scene rearranges itself as I stand between Dennis and Marcus's gun. It changes again, and the shape of Marcus lies on the ground, still hell-bent on revenge even after I let him live. In my mind, I sobbed as I watched Dennis get torn apart by those monsters all over again, and I just stood by and watched. I am calmed by a bit as I watch myself shoot the right barrel and helped Amy to safety. And just when I feel like I can't take any more of this, I see the man in that strange world begging for death. I watch as I take his life just before those beasts reach him. All these things are flooding my mind, and it feels like my brain is vomiting. Yet, in the midst of it all, I see something important. The switch. In my mind's eye, I see that glowing light in the tunnel, the one far ahead, small and distant. I focus my mind on the tunnel and the image of that flickering light. With the mental effort so strong that it's nearly a physical motion, I make myself envision that little light in the tunnel as if they were right there in front of me. With that, I feel the wind again, a light breeze that seems to come from everywhere, and then with a relief that I can only imagine feels like death, I move forward. Oh shit. I eject from the void and I'm suddenly standing in the tunnel again. I let out a wail of triumph that turns into a bout of weeping. The weeping only intensifies when I see the light up ahead, a flickering blue light. Somewhere behind me, I hear a crackling sound. I think of Amy down there by the elevator. Have they reached her? There's no way I can find out. For now, I have to keep on with my plan. Besides, if it works, we're all gone anyway. I feel like I can listen to get better read of where we are if I could just make a break for it. Run to the blue light. I don't even bother looking back. There's no time. Instead, I run with all my might straight ahead, my focus on that little blue light ahead of me. As I run, I see a different light, a white one, flickering in my peripheral vision. It's another one of those shimmers that goes to another world. It seems they're appearing and disappearing with more frequency now. Strickland was right. These things could reach the surface soon, unleashing more monsters. This thought made me refocus on the blue light, the man-made light, the switch. The blue light gets closer as it does. I can make out a square shape around it. It has to be it. The familiar static scream of the monster is much closer now. I have to be quick. I grip the gun tightly, regretting my decision to use the last bullet of the gun on the man in the other world. Looks like all I use this is as a bludgeon. I run ahead to the darkness, my eyes locked on the switch, and I assume it's going to kill not only the creatures but myself as well. As I approach, I see the lever. Covered by the glass box as I need to break it. The blue light directly underneath this highlighted a series of tubes and wires that snake into the inner workings of the device. In the middle of the blackness, not like the darkly colored part of the machine, just a hole in reality. It looks sort of illusion. All the while I hear the static of the creatures coming up dangerously close now. I have no idea how much time I have. Smash the glass! I draw back the stock of the gun and smash through the glass that houses the lever. The glass shatters like music to my ears. I reach out to the lever, my hand grasps it. Without warning, I feel immense pain course through my body. It feels like fire racing down my back, causing me to fall on one knee in agony. There's only one of them that I can see. The blast is horribly static noise at me as I ready my gun. With no bullets left, I'm ready to use it as a club, try to strike. The monster bats the gun away, warping it into an S shape, and then follows up with a string of appendages at me. The sting of its touch forcing me to back against the side of the cavern, my face striking the wall hard. My jaw crushes and it feels sharp pain encompasses my head. Then the creature is upon me again. The tentacles melt into me and I scream. I can't help it. I sound like a wild animal. I try to keep defending the mob, or I could go for run, just focus on the lever. Creature be damned. Spring for the lever. Creature be damned. Oh my fucking god. I pull all my strength into my legs. The moment the monster is in front of me, draws back its eel-like arms and grabs me, and I pivot backwards. My back strikes the machine, sending agony rocketing through my body. I'm still thinking I broke the glass before this coming violence. I stretch out and grab the lever. In one last desperate scream that sheds my voice, I jammed it down. The tunnel is suddenly filled with a flash of intense darkness. It expands from the switch, swallowing the matter around it. At first, I'm sure this is the end of me. I expect the darkness to consume me, followed by death. But then another shimmer of dancing white light appeared next to me. There is more of those streams of light rippling in space like those later ones that previously sent me to that other ungodly world in the void. With nothing else to do but die, I try to escape to the shimmer. When that stream of light envelops me, the expanding darkness of the switch is gone and I feel a huge push. Oh my god. My body feels stretched, collapsing like I'm falling all directions at once. The world goes white and then there are pinpoints of stars everywhere. One of them breezes directly by my right, and I see something that looks like a spiral galaxy distorted in folds. To my right, I see endless stretches of stars and gas clouds, forming some galactic architecture. But beyond the immeasurable beauty, I notice something. I see the same star pattern over and over. They're repeating like reflections in an endless mirror. Are these different versions of the same galaxy, the same realities? To my left, I see a calm, blue world. I can barely make out trees, familiar Kentucky trees that have been around for the last few weeks. To my right, I see a copy, an orange world. There are trees there as well, but something strange, disturbing. As I zoom by, I'm not sure how much control I have in this unusual world, but if I can direct myself, it's worth trying. You decide to head to the blue world. I try to focus my mind on heading towards the blue world, not knowing what to expect. My breath escapes me for a moment. Everything is dark and peaceful, and nothing hurts. Oh my god. With breath back in my body, I gasp and open my eyes. I'm back at the logging site. How? I'm not sure. Did the shimmers react with the implosion of the switch? Some other accident? I have no idea. I sit up right away and become instantly dizzy. Amy, I said. There's no reason to think that she survived whatever happened in that tunnel, but there's some sort of certainty that gets me to my feet. I wonder if I'm somehow back in time before we found the facility. But what happens next makes me realize that can't be true. As I start walking towards, I feel a tremor in the ground. Somewhere off in the distance, I hear a metallic groan. The buried facility is being ripped apart under the ground by the activation of the switch. Trees are splintering and falling to the east, and I can see them toppling just like dominoes. There's no way Birkdale Marcus survived. Good riddance. I start to walk away from the opposite direction of the falling trees, but then I hear a scream. A woman scream. I turned away and I see a stumbling figure coming out of the forest. It's Amy. She looks like a ghost. How is she here? Did she fall into one of the shimmers as well? I decided I don't care and run to her. I throw my arms under her armpit and hooked her as to me as we head back to the logging site. You okay? I asked. Amy can only nod through her tears. I look to the air where the facility tore the woods apart and see large plumes of smoke rising up into the air. We made it out to the facility alive, and that, I suppose, is the most important thing. It's then that I looked up and noticed the sky. Oh my God. The sky is beautiful and familiar, unobstructed by the trees that has been standing several minutes ago. I exhaled and let my body start to relax. It's finally over. I'm not sure how long it will take me to get back to some semblance of a life, but I know one thing for sure. Any day above ground is gonna be a good day. Man! It's over! Wow! Oh my God. Tough it out. You and 36 of players decided to take the painkillers. Who survives? You and 62 players shot the right barrel, keeping Amy alive. Mercy. You and 30 players mercilessly killed the man who asked for death, going home. You and 83 players head towards the blue world and went home. Wow. Damn. Oh my God. Oh my God. I did. I wanted to save Dennis. I didn't care if his like, bro. I think that's what hurt me the most. I think that's what hurt me the fucking most. Is that I caused Dennis to die. But I'm done. It's over. I did it. That was buried. We destroyed the switch. We managed to get out of the facility. And it's over. What's done is done. Anyway, so thank you all so much for watching. If you all enjoyed, please like, share, and comment down below. Let me know what you think of the video. And there's a saying that goes, there's always a reason to smile. You just gotta find that reason. And that reason is that this game is done. And that being said, hope you all have a good day. And you take care now.